And welcome aboard. Nice to be back in the studio after being on the road on Sunday. More on that in a second. But Matt Rogers, our returning carryover champion. Hello to you.
Oh, it's well. Thanks for the nice welcome. I'm stoked to be here. I think my best bet got up last week.
Now, isn't it interesting? Isn't it amazing, Matt? Right, how that defines your week. The moment you do this show, that best bet will determine your mood for the next few days.
Well, I know you've got a great base of people that watch the show, and I don't want to do the wrong thing, so I was nervous. I've got to tell you, it got up.
What was your best bet?
It was the Dragons to cover the line. I actually wanted to pick them to win, but I just thought...
Oh, me too. I was the same.
Cover the line, but...
you wanted to get off the strike, didn't you? You just wanted to turn the strike over.
That's it.
And off you went. I let the team down, by the way, folks.
I know.
Life again.
I know you did.
I know. Very few times I have rat this year.
I've got a beauty for today.
Have you?
Yeah,
that's you know what we call that in the business? That's a tease.
Oh, that's a
Now,
great
we've got an
tease.
update on Sean and the King.
Yes, we do. King George, he's going terrifically well. So the reason you're here, Rat, is because our man, Sean the Trader, he and his beautiful wife, Vanessa, if you missed the Sunday show, they have given birth to Vanessa has given birth to a young fellow called George, which is a tip of the hat to Shawnee's late old man.
Yes.
The original coal miner.
Very nice.
Shawnee's never set foot in a coal mine.
No.
But Georgie the coal miner, well done to you guys. And well done to George. Great family, great parents.
So you're telling me that Shawnee doesn't have the black lung? He's
No.
actually not a coal miner?
I would imagine he would, if he tried mining, he'd look like Zoolander.
Right, okay.
You know, just
I can see it.
the thing
I
coming
can see
on.
it now.
Yeah.
It's fraudulent that we say he's the
But
coal
in
miner.
saying that, and we'd like to help our buddies out here. I would think, parents' time with baby in the first few weeks. That's precious. So I'm giving Sean, if he wants to take weeks 3 and 4 off, not just week 2.
Hang on.
For Sportsbet's got the money. Sportsbet's got the money. They can pay Matty Rogers.
Happy to fill
That's
in.
what I mean.
Happy to fill in
Let's
where
share the
needed.
love.
Yeah.
Hang on
Let's
a second.
share the love.
I think I might have just got a little tap on the shoulder about a date in a month or so's time. Aren't you taking a week off?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hang on.
Always. I take it. Don't put on
Where are
the
you off to
theatre.
this year?
Cairns or Port Douglas, that area.
Yeah, good on you, Dan.
Yeah, and we're not going to. It's not as exciting as you were hoping there. By the way, just thanks for everyone watching on Sunday, and particularly for persevering with me coming through an old-fashioned COVID Zoom laptop. And there's a story behind that, because Sportsbet bought me this beautiful camera and this microphone, which they think they're getting back, and they're not. They asked for it already, and I said no. It's all set up, and I don't want to have to go through all that again. But 2 minutes before we're about to go on air on Sunday from Suncorp Stadium, I thought the lighting needs just adjusting, and I adjusted the lighting, and everything fell, and the cable snapped between camera and laptop. So that's why, after much panic, and I had to run up to Oz Stereo, 10 minutes away, to get a new cable, and because we delayed the taping of the show, ran back. So I've got the new cable. I'm in a lather, plug everything in, I adjust the lighting again, and guess what happens?
It didn't.
It all fell over. 2 snap cables. So that's why you had to put up with me on Zoom.
We need to credit this, right? So think about this guy's just called a game, a big upset. Dragons.
Yes.
They're at Suncorp Stadium against the Broncos. And then, unbeknownst to the rest of the rugby league community, has had to go and do all of that. What a man.
He's committed.
Yeah, no, I can imagine
to the
doing it. It would be a
cause.
massive pain in the backside. So thank you, Dan.
Okay, all right. Yeah, they do pay. I mean, there was an incentive. Let's, in fact, the best bets from last week. Are we going to play something here, or are we just going to talk about these, which we already have? Matty's best bet, Dragons plus 11.5. I had South Tigers total match unders 46.5. So I'm sorry about the flair. Neither side to get 20 Dre Arrow scores on the last play. Sean's best bet got up plus 7.5. The Roosters. We were all on that one, but Jolie.
Latrell Mitchell.
Well, that's okay. But let's talk Origin. Let's talk Origin. Now, we're going to do a proper Origin preview on Sunday with all the first try scorers, man of the matches, any times, all those sorts of things. We'll cover it all Sunday after a fantastic game. Warriors versus Canberra. But let's have a look at some of the, let's have a look at the lineups here. Queensland, Matty Rogers. And where are the names that stand out on that list that you go, ooh, that could be an issue, or ooh, I like what I see there?
Well, look, there's no question, the debutant Robert Toyer in the centres. He's going to be defending on the right.
Yep.
You'll have DCE.
Yes. Yep.
Angus Crichton will be attacking that side with Latrell Mitchell. It's a pretty scary spot that Queensland are going to have to get right. But what I do love is I love the reward that Beaufor Moore's got from his great play this year. I think he's been one of the best left edge back rowers in the competition, alongside probably Hudson Young, and he's been rewarded for his efforts. I think it's fantastic.
Ruben Cotter on an edge. Is that any concern or not?
He's done that before, hasn't he, in Origin, I believe?
He's mobile enough.
Yeah.
He can move. It's just, I guess, the thing you would worry about is just the lateral movement when you're defending on an edge as opposed to defending in the middle. But something they'll work on during the week. I've got no issue with it.
Okay. All right. Yep.
What I would say, Joel, with Queensland is last year it was all tied up with 15 minutes to go. That's a better team than what they had last year.
Correct.
Would you say that?
Yep, correct.
Right, and then we look at New South Wales, and Moses and Cleary are paired together. This is the 5th game in 6 Origins New South Wales have different halves. The rest of it pretty much picked itself. I mean, the only surprise really, Max King, but that's the rest of it, and well done to Max. Where are the holes in that side, Matty Rogers?
Well, look, there's plenty of aggression when you look at that side with your Spencer Lenus, your Mitch Barnetts. If there's an issue, it might be how is the Mitch Moses, Nathan Cleary combination going to work? Both generals of their team, both like the ball in their hand. It's something they're going to have to work out pretty quick because they've only got a week until game time.
Boys, 3 players I think have got to thank their coaches for their escalation towards Origin. Angus Crichton was playing reserve grade just over 12 months ago.
Yes.
So whatever Trent Robinson's done there has been terrific. You've got Zach Lomax, who it was Coach Flanagan who pushed him to the wing.
That's right.
Didn't want to play on the wing. And the other one is, who's the other one? Well, the other one's Max King.
Yes.
The Max King with Coach Geraldo.
Yeah.
Like, he's played a major part in his escalation to Origin.
Yeah, it's something that we had Max on our show a little while ago, and he was talking about how they've developed him as a player down there at the Bulldogs, working on him getting his offload back into his game. Look, he's a front rower in a club that is leading the comp comfortably. Deserves his spot, and well done to him.
Hey, tell me what happens with the guys on debut this week. So Rob Toyer, for instance, because when you hear from the coaches, whether it was Kevy a few years ago or Mal or Billy, they will always say, well, we're going to teach, in this case, Robert, what it's like to play for Queensland. So what happens? You went through this, or what is this indoctrination? It almost sounds like you're being put into a cinema Gestapo style and watching propaganda videos. But whatever, it's working. It works. Whatever happens, it works. I mean, these blokes, Fermor, are going to feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. So what happens?
It's a bit like that. I will say my first experience going into the Origin camp, no coaches in the room, just players, and Choppy Close. He was our team manager at the time. And it was our first meeting. It's like, boys, I want to chat to you about what this week means. It was the first Origin team that was picked as we came back together. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was the year after. It was 99 for me. I sat in that meeting. Darren Smith was my roommate, and he made me sit at the front of everything. Front of the bus, so I could experience Caxton Street. Front of the team meeting, so I could just take it all in. He's like, this is your first experience. You've got to do all this. So I did. And I remember sitting there, and Choppy Close was no more than 2 metres away from me, and he started going on about what it means to play for Queensland and what it means to be a New South Welshman, in relation to being a Queenslander. And I'll tell you what, he was spitting on me. I can't repeat what he was saying. Yeah. But my initial thought was, he's speaking about my old man. He's New South Wales with this, that, and this, and I'm just thinking, that's. But I'll tell you what.
How did that go, by the way?
Well, he taught me how to hate him. He taught me how to hate him real well, but love him off the field.
So I've seen clips of you, so it's hard for your grandchildren. You've got 2 grandchildren, and
the dog fight at the moment in the house.
Well, Dad's a proud New South Welshman, right? Both of you played for Australia. Yeah. But then who do the grandchildren go for?
Because they could pick either, couldn't
they? Yeah, it's a bit torn. My granddaughter, she's Queensland.
Yep.
My grandson, he's New South Wales.
Right.
You know, my kids, I've got, you know, my oldest boy, he's Queensland. My younger kids are, my two in the middle are New South Wales, and my youngest is Queensland. So it's
so confusing.
It's a battle. It's a battleground. The battlegrounds are drawn at this time of year.
What about wifey?
Well, my wife's New South Wales,
Yeah,
and I
good
can't
girl.
turn her. I've tried every angle.
Okay, all right. Nathan Cleary's personal life is not my business. I've never cared about it. Good luck to him. But I see his partner, Queenslander, is wearing a New South Wales jersey. How does that make you, Matt Rogers, feel?
Well, look, I can understand it, given she's not a rugby league girl, but she is from Cairns. I doubt very much. I don't care how much love's in that relationship. I doubt very much whether he can turn her completely to becoming a New South Wales supporter.
Dan, come on. So Mary is from Cairns and she's wearing a Blues jumper, big whoop. This guy's from Carrington and wore a Queensland jumper. I'll tell you who's rock solid, though. Let's talk about legends. I caught up during the week, and he's part of now the Get 'em Onside family. Craig Wing, take it away.
Game one, I think we're going to get out of the blocks.
Yep.
I do like this team. I think the halves matchups, I think that's pretty awesome, and that's going to be the thing to really watch, and I think that's going to be what decides the two teams, actually, because they're strong in the back, strong in the forwards. But I think, let's say New South Wales wins by 10, 20 to 10.
20
First
to
game,
10.
Yeah.
Okay, man of the match.
Gets out there. Cleary or Moses. I think I'm going to go Moses.
Moses, wow.
Man
What a
of the
statement
match.
that'd be.
I like Liam Martin. He's a good edge runner. He's always out there, and we got some big centres that they're gonna be trying to slide across and cover. So it just takes a little bit of a show out, play short, and that's the hole where I think there's some opportunity.
So, Dan, I've just popped this on the feed, actually. As per that chat, you get the whole chat on YouTube or your podcast. Get 'em Onside, you're searching. I've just popped that up. So he said, Moses, man of the match, New South Wales 1-12. Aunt Edna, Liam Martin, anytime try scorer, $60.
Wow.
It's a shame.
$60.
He was such a fit player. It's such a shame to see him let himself go. What's he doing? Get 'em Onside family. What does that mean?
No, I'm just saying he's part of the stable now. He's been part of our indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated. That's it.
I've got a story about Craig Wing. Love Craig Wing. One of the great guys of rugby league. Had a wonderful career. I tell you what, though, I had a big hand in making him famous in his early days. In his first couple of games, he scored a phenomenal individual try. He jumped out of dummy half. I was at marker, and he's just got past me. But I could have just tackled him, but I thought I'll just ankle tap him. And I've gone to ankle tap him, and he's zipped the other way, and I've missed him completely. And then he's beat Peach, and he's scored, and he was just headline for the next week. And I was furious at myself. I'm like, why didn't I just dive in and tackle him instead of trying to be cute? Anyway, we've had a discussion about it. He's a great guy. He would have had look, regardless of what I did,
You didn't want to hurt him.
He was going to have an amazing
He looks like a
career.
figurine. You didn't want to hurt him.
No, he's
too
great
beautiful.
Man. Great man.
All right.
Stay tuned, though, Dan, because SP, we call him here, senior producer Nathan Gibbo, he said, who do you want? And I thought, we don't hear from Craig Wing. We see a lot of the same faces pop up all the time.
Yep.
So fascinating to see who he comes up with next.
Underrated Origin player too. Now, an aftermath to a story I told on Sunday, and let's not put the graphic up yet, but I told the story, Joel, of the John Madden movie that's coming, right? Which is going to be amazing. John Madden, I think the greatest sports broadcaster that's ever lived, and certainly the most popular, and also a former coach, and then the video games, a whole story. And Nick Cage is going to play John Madden,
Yes.
right? Which we're all excited about. We saw the picture, but then it emerged, and the story I told was that there'd been confusion that he had researched someone called Joan Madden. Now, have you ever heard of something called NBA Centel? NBA Centel is a meme site, is a funny site where they put out stories that aren't true, but they catch people. And a lot of times ESPN or TNT reporters report them as fact because they're so close to the truth that they're believed. I got Centelled. This is the tweet I saw on the Sunday from the Sports Memery. Now, I saw the TMZ thing, and Nicolas Cage reportedly had no idea who John Madden was. See, that's believable. And due to a research mix-up, plays half the upcoming biopic as a 66-year-old black woman he thought was Joan Madden, a Mary Kay saleswoman from Arkansas. So I got. Well played, everyone. And that movie's about 18 months away, and can't wait. Now Sunday night, we're on. It's a weird round, but we're on at the normal time slot. So 8:20 on Fox League. 8:20. So only the one game. It's at 4 o'clock, and then Maddie, and then us. So that's what we're looking forward to here.
Us is in,
and
with
I'll
the
be
great man.
I'll be joining you.
Oh, why not?
Yes.
Why would
Coming in for the review.
Beautiful. All right, let's look at the first game of the round. 5 games. Not a bad round, actually. Canterbury Dolphins, first one. And you see there, the Dolphins have come in a little bit, I see, Joel, but still very nice odds. Canterbury are missing Crichton and King. Kiraz is gone as well, not origin duty, but he's out for a few weeks. So they do get Josh Curran back and Sam Hughes, so that's a timely return. Blake Wilson plays on the wing. Blake Taff is in the centre. Blake Taff in the centres. So is that Herbie's side? And Jake Turpin returns as well. Talk about Canterbury's missing players. Dolphins, Hammer, Marshall King, Plath, Saifidi, Gilbert, and Flegler as well. He's been out all season. Actually, I'll start with you, Matty Rogers. I don't think the Dolphins should be as big as they are, even though Canterbury are on a hot streak.
They are on a hot streak, the Dogs, but I think they're down about 10 plus players out of their top 30, so it's going to put a huge dent. But when you've still got the likes of your halves intact, you've got Billy Kikau on an edge, it's a solid team. I think they're going to be hard to beat. When you look at the Dolphins, Isaiah Katoa, he's one of my favourite players to watch in the competition, but he's lacking some weapons around him at the moment. Marshall King's a big out for him. He does a lot around the ruck for them, creates some opportunity for them.
They look slow at times, don't they? Just all looks a little slow motion.
Yeah, it does. But I do like the way the Katoa plays from fast to slow or slow to fast.
Tempo.
Like his tempo is just, I think it's the best I've seen in, a number of years. I think he's going to be one of the best players in the league if he's not already at that point in the next couple of years. I like the Dogs in this one. I think they're just going to have a little bit too much class.
All right.
At home.
Kurt Mann out as well. I forgot to mention him. Well done. He's 18th man. I used to have a drama with this, Joel, 18th man. And I still think that we can fix that system just a little, that the 18th man, who's unlikely to play an Origin, misses the club game. But then we saw last year the importance of Cobbo coming on when Walsh was wiped out. I'd let them play 2, but I do understand the 18th man policy.
The argument from the coaches at Clubland would be, well, we're getting them to back up for us, and you're a remote chance of playing. So why can't you back up for them? I think they should be able to play.
Yeah, I had this argument with Scott Sattler last night on radio. The reality is, 18th man's getting paid.
Yep.
He's getting paid to be on standby for that game, just in case required. If he wasn't getting paid, you'd certainly think, well, you're not getting paid to do it. He's getting paid a fair whack to sit there. It'd be a bit rough if he had played a full game and in the first 5 minutes there is a HIA due to foul play and he can be activated and he's got to back up after a short turnaround in the biggest game of, the year so far.
Yeah, but conversely, he's getting paid mega bucks for the club that he's missing out on.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This is
You know what, though?
This is the NRL showpiece, so State of Origin.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny, when the Sydney media thinks something, now all of a sudden something needs to change. North Queensland got screwed with this with Tom Dearden for years. He was 18th man. I used to blow off about this. Is 4 or 5 years ago, and no one cared. Oh, well, that's just the way it is. But Canterbury lose a player, and oh my God, we've got to change the system. I agree, though, the system should be changed. Which way are you going, Joel? It's a Thursday night. The weather in Sydney for the outside Sydney people has been awful this week.
Okay, well, if that's the case, maybe low scoring. If it's going to be low scoring, maybe think about the almond latte wrap, which happens to be first, second or third. But you've got to go left. Herbie Farnworth up against Blake Taff. It would ordinarily be Critter. Look at the run. Herbie goes pineapple. Herbie goes apple. You know what it is, Dan. Herbie goes whatever he goes.
Herbie goes bananas.
Yeah,
now I see what you're doing.
no one says that,
come out
do they?
with different fruits and okay.
Yeah, no one says that. He's in rare form at the moment, looking quick, and you can't score on the other side. Matty Rogers, they're 2 buttoned up. You got on the other side, you've got Kikau alongside Burton, alongside Cherry. They are a well-oiled machine. This is where Coach Wolf must attack.
Yeah, well, they've had some injury. Nicholson out wrong Nicholson. Looking forward to seeing the Dolphins attack, but minus the hammer, it's a lot of pressure on Herbie. They don't have to look anywhere else. That's where it's going to come.
What score?
I don't think it's going to be a big scoring
This
game.
could be.
But the weather down here is horrendous.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it this bad in a long time. That's why I live up in Queensland. I'm going to deal with the cold and the wet. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Bulldogs get the money.
Joel, is this a game? Do we again look at Canterbury to keep their opponents to 0?
Oh, they could.
I'm not sure they're quite not switched on quite there at the moment, so I wouldn't. But I could see them keeping the Dolphins to 6 or less.
Yeah, you could. At the price, you could, for sure.
But I've got the flair, and I actually think the Dolphins are going to compete very hard. And I think the Dogs are due for, if not a loss, very close to. Geez, they're being close. The Roosters, Canberra, great fighting qualities, but they're playing with a bit of fire. No atmosphere. Well, I can't say no atmosphere game because they're turning up for all the games Canterbury fans at, but this is a tester on a Thursday night, bad weather. Dolphins line into Herbie any time. You figure Herbie's got a score if they're going to cover that line, $4.20. All right, now we go to the one and only game on Friday nights. Yes, Paramata versus Manly, Combank Stadium. Paramata coming off a very impressive win against Newcastle, but we're back to the mire, Joel, where they lose Moses and they lose Lomax, and they're the two keys, really. Dean Hawkins plays at 7. Comator Lungi is back. Matt Dory is in. Without Moses, though, 1-5 this year, Paramata. And Manly will have a player wearing number 1 with a point to prove.
Oh, massively. And there'll be a number 7 for Manly also with a point to prove because his old man last year got the Rissole from Paramata. That was Brad Arthur. So Jacob Arthur has his chance, by the way, a grand final try scorer, if you don't mind, for the blue and gold. He's going to play halfback. The thing that worries me, boys, is Coach Riles once this year has had both Lomax and Moses missing. Run metres are a big correlation towards victory. They ran for like 1,300 metres, which is very, very meek. On the other hand, the one game they've had them both there together, here we go, here's a graphic, well done, Gibbo. The one game where they had both of them, almost 2,000 metres. So obviously Lomax giving that field position from the back with those run metres and carries that he does. Moses with the kicking game. I'm heavy Manly. I just think they can't overcome this.
Yeah, look, I tend to agree. The Parramatta Eels, they need some other players to stand up. Dylan Brown needs to stand up here. He can't put it on Dean Hawkins to steer this ship. He's the senior player, he needs to stand up. Your Josh Addo-Carrs, Jermaine Hopgood's, former Origin player, he's a senior player there. They need to stand up. Junior Polo, they need to stand up and help this team get across the line because you can't just be so heavily dependent on one or two players in your team. It's a team effort, and the senior players at Parramatta, if they're any chance, need to stand up this week.
I can't, Matty, get a read on Manly. I mean, they were terrific last week. Defence, they kept out. It was like 48 tackles from the Cowboys inside their own 20. So they won with their defence. The week before, they weren't very good against Cronulla. And here's Turbo, by the way. I'm going to talk about him specifically in a minute. And then Penrith the week before, they were fabulous, 26-10 winners. But is Turbo, it's very clear, isn't it, gentlemen, that Turbo is not 100% right now.
Yeah, look, you love to see a fit, flying Tommy Trbojevic, don't you? It's just one of those sights in rugby league that we all love, but we just haven't seen him at his best yet. Is it a form thing coming back from injury, or is it the injury still hampering him? We're unsure, but I think game time, him, in the saddle, it's all he can do, and he's going to try and put his best foot forward. But he's certainly going to have something to prove being left out of the New Zealand.
Well, and that's where, Joel, you're heading with your flair
Yes, yeah, I am actually. Tommy Turbo, and we are taking him on trust. But even with last week, there was chances. You saw that bumble there. Tommy Turbo to score 3 or more tries. I just think they're going to dominate field position. So with that in mind, shots on goal. Thomas the Turbo, I think he's in for a big day.
All right, so that is Friday night footy here on Fox. Saturday, 2 very interesting games. And we start with the team out of form in the Newcastle Knights against Penrith, who have just been decimated. Now, I looked up this stat because for some reason I think we have a perception that Penrith aren't too bad during Origin period, and that's, I think, generally the case. But the week before in Origin, where they're most affected, 1-3 since 2020. 1-3. They get a lot of buys, but 1-3, and the one win was against a very bad Canterbury team in 2022. So it does take its toll, and their team is missing Cleary, Yeo, Edwards, Martin, To'o, and Isaiah Papali'i. So you've got Dane Laurie at fullback, Casey McLean in the centres, Matt Eisenhuth starts, Preston Ricky, just his second game is in the second row. And then the bench, Austin Diaz from the West Tigers makes his, I believe it's his Panthers debut. To me, the Knights, they don't have Ponga. I'll get to that in a second. Knights are pretty good value here. Bathurst, I know they can't score points at the moment, but they're playing a very, I would think, gettable team.
Well, I don't think they're going to have enough firepower to beat the Penrith Panthers. I look at the Penrith Panthers team, and you look across the board with the likes of Casey McLean, Isaac Tungua still in the centres, Paul Alamotti, grand final try scorer in their forwards. They've still got Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny in there, some senior players. Luron Patea, who's shown what he can do in the first grade football field. Phenomenal young talent. I think Penrith is still going to have too much firepower for a week in Newcastle.
Can I sell you on this, Matthew? Can I sell you on this? No Kalen Ponga. You think, well, they can't score points as it is. They can't win as it is. How are they going to win? We have gone through the stats. Now, this is not a shot at Ponga, okay? Yeah. But this is just to say that sometimes maybe the other players are picking up the slack. 2020, since started 2024, their record is better with him out than in. Since 2023, their record is better with him out than in. Since 2022, slightly better with him in, but it's close, right? So since 2022, when he plays 25 and 28, 47%. When he doesn't play, 11, 13 and a draw, 46%. 47%, 46%. When he plays, 18 points a game. When he doesn't play, 21 points a game. I think it's an anomaly. I think we probably all agree. But I would just take that into account before making my investments.
He does cast a big shadow, Kalen Ponga, doesn't he? So when he's not there, people realise they've got to step up. When he is there, maybe they do take their foot off the brake a fraction. But I still think, this Penrith Panthers side will have too much. I do like Fletcher Sharp at fullback. It's going to give him some free rein. We're going to see him all over the field. And he can be devastating. And he can be devastating on his own. He doesn't need any support. He can just do it with his pace and his vision. But I still think the Penrith Panthers will be too tight.
Gamble and Cogger are the new halves for Newcastle.
No Hastings still jumper number 22, I think you'll find.
He's 22 every week now.
Yeah, we tipped you on this show about 2 years ago, this exact game where Panthers went to Carrington Park in Bathurst. They hosted the Tigers at $9. This feels very Knights-ish. It does, with Sharp going back to fullback. It's $1.33 with no Cleary, Edwards, Martin, Yeo. Like a team who's desperate on the road. I know there's no Ponga. If there's a concern here for Coach O'Brien, it's got to be the left-hand side. No Marzu, no Best playing in this game. Last 2 weeks, they've cashed in. Now, you'll see here, you go, well, Phil Sammy's not a right winger. Well, he was playing on the right wing because they've been zigging and zagging there, the Gold Coast Titans. Quite often, Jojo Fafita gets pushed in or another player. He scored 2. Lomax scored 2 as well. So just at the price, I'd be looking towards Alamotti in your same game multis, Dan. But you've got the flair, not myself, Dan.
Well, let's just have a look at here just to emphasise your point. Right side, that's pretty meek defence there. And
those two blokes aren't here this week.
So you got a new centre wing combination. Kyle McCarthy, who's only played 2 first grade games, and Fletcher Hunt, who's only played 1. In saying that, I'm going to put a bit of faith in the Newcastle Knights, head-to-head, into the under. I think the only way the Knights win is a low-scoring game, but I just don't see where points are in this game. In fact, the flair that got me last week, neither side to score 20, this is that game. I'd look at... In fact, I should have made that my flair. But anyway, Bathurst can get pretty soggy if there's any rain there. So just take that into account there. So you're outvoted, Matthew. Outvoted this time. Life. Doesn't mean we're going to be right, though.
I'll see you on Sunday, boys.
I was going to say, thank goodness we weren't recording on Tuesday. Joel, let's go to the next game. Really interesting. I keep saying interesting. I need a better word. Roosters, Cronulla. Cronulla, Matty, you got to be happy with where your Sharks are at. That was a fabulous win against Melbourne.
It was
Saturday night.
phenomenal. It was the first time they've beaten them in a couple of years at home. And I think it's the first time Nico Hines has beaten them in a Cronulla jersey.
Yes.
So a big monkey off the back in that regard. So I do like Cronulla this week. They're coming up against a depleted Roosters side, obviously. I think there's going to be a lot of room down the middle of the field for the likes of Hamilton Uele and Adam Fanua-Blake. No Nafahu White, no Lindsay Collins. It's going to be tough for the Roosters.
A whole stack of new players, Makatoa and Foketti are the front row. Tom Young returns. Cronulla have one change, not Katoa, he was always out. Stone Street out and Hiroti is in, but no Origin players. We missed this, Joel, because on Sunday night we looked at the Knights as perhaps being a bet of the week, which may prove to be. Roosters are only giving, I think, 2.5 or 3.5 on Sunday night. That has ballooned, and they're starting to approach double digits.
Yeah, I can see Tedesco having a massive game. So it is a trappy game for Coach Fitzgibbon because you've had the big win. Now you head up the highway to Gosford. But he's taking on his old mentor, Trent Robbins, so they'll need to be screwed in. They don't draw pitches on the ladder. Whether you beat Melbourne or you beat a depleted Roosters side, it's 2 points in the competition bank. So for me, where would be a clear target would be the left-hand side. They've been good anyway. So Kaeliro hasn't missed this year so far. Ronaldo Mulitalo. But you look at this, Dan. This is this right edge in their positions, right? So Siwa Wong's played 18 games in that right edge position. Hugo Savala, 5 games in that right sort of half position. And Marky Mark, who's been recently pushed to the wing, he comes into the centres. So that's a very new sort of cohort, so to speak. So they're already doing really well on the left-hand side with Ronaldo and Kaeliro. So I'll take the flair before we go to you, Matty Rogers. But Ronaldo Mulitalo to score 3.
Wow, I like that. I just like the flair of it all.
Oh, I like the flair of Ronaldo Mulitalo too.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you like it?
Oh well, he's a much maligned player, isn't he? Like if you're a Sharks fan, you love him, and if you're a Sharks player, you love him. And we've all had players like that we've played with that you love having in your team, but you'd go into a rep camp and they'd go, "What's that bloke like? Is he?" And you like I was forever defending Dean Treaster.
Yes.
When I played, he was a real pest of a hooker. And he was a great teammate, but I'll tell you what, the Johns boys absolutely hated him. So you'd go into camp and they'd be like, mate, I'm going to give it. I think when Matty Johns joined the Sharks, Dino walked into the strapping room and he goes, mate, I can't play with you. And
wow.
they almost came to blows, but they worked it out. He's a great bloke, Dino, but he was a great teammate, but an awful bloke to play against. And I think Ronaldo's becoming that. Now, as long as he can temper it, so it doesn't affect his game.
Has Craig said anything to him, you reckon?
Well, I think he has, but it's certainly getting play. I mean, when have you ever seen Ryan Pappenhausen throw a swinging arm?
Yeah.
He gets players off their game. He can do it.
He does.
And he can suck other players in. You just got to try to, I guess not fire
It works.
him up.
It does. Ennis was good at it. It works for players. Question on Nwanganutawaze. Firstly, how good was he as a rugby player?
He was phenomenal. He was a player that you'd pay money to go and watch. I mean, in space, in contact, he's a big, strong body, great under the high ball, great positionally, phenomenal talent. And I'm seeing that starting to flourish in rugby league. I mean, we saw his try last week. I mean, what a gift, to be able to do that, just phenomenal. So, yeah, look, I can see Mark Nwanganutawaze wearing a blue jersey in the years to come.
Yeah.
He's that type of player.
Okay, there is a couple of flaws in his game. The catching of the bombs, is that easily fixable?
Yeah, I mean, that's just time. Time and look, some players, he's certainly got coordination. He's got great hand-eye. So that's just, time in the saddle. That's just spending time under high balls. But, look, I mean, he's got no weakness. He can tackle. He's great defensively. His speed, his strength. Bring the ball out of their end. It's tough.
Now, he's by force into the centres this week. Would you leave him out? I can't do it this week, but would you just say, be a winger for the next 2 years? Because he does seem to make... isn't that the hardest defensive position to play centre? So would he be benefited? Just go under the wing, learn the game, be a winger for 2 years.
You can still do the same from centre. The thing is, his mistakes that he makes in the centre position will be glaring, and they'll probably lead to tries. That's the issue when you move an inexperienced player into the centres. But in terms of the physical nature of the game, it's the easiest position to play in the centres. I've been saying for the last year, wingers should be making more money than centres now. Just the work that they put in and the impact that they can have on the game, I think it's greater than what centres do at the moment.
Can I ask you this, Rat, from a coach's point of view, because I would consider this, it's going to be such an obvious target. Wong, Nwanga, and who was the other person I said? Savala.
Savala, yeah.
Would you be tempted to push Billy Smith over and say, mate, I know you don't often play on the right-hand side, but we can't have Nwanga alongside Dom Young?
Yeah, look, it could be, it might happen. We're unsure yet, but it's certainly going to be a focal point for the Sharks.
At the very least, you know the Sharks are going to go after that.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you presented that at kick-off, it gets in their head going, okay, well, they've changed things up.
Yeah.
Got to move on, but do you like what you're seeing from Cronulla?
Love it. Yeah,
are they better than last year and the year before?
Absolutely they are. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
But this is a great game. Warriors versus Canberra. It's a 6 o'clock Sunday night game, New Zealand time, 4 o'clock our time. Warriors $1.80. Raiders $2.05. If you've been following the show, you know Joel thinks they're paper tigers, the Warriors.
No, I don't.
You like that term.
I don't.
They haven't, let's be honest. Again, don't be sensitive with us Warriors fans. They haven't beaten much. Okay. They've beaten what's been presented in front of them, but this is probably the best opposition they've had since round 1 in Las Vegas when Canberra put the cleaners through them. No James Fisher-Harris. It's amazing what they're doing, and he hasn't contributed that much on field anyway. I think culturally there's clearly an impact there. Luke Metcalf keeps scoring tries, 6 in his last 7. Last time the Warriors were 8-2 or better, 2002, and only one Origin player for them, Mitch Barnett. But Canberra only one Origin player, Hudson Young. It's a great game.
It is a great game, and what did you call it? Paper Tigers.
Yeah, it's an old-fashioned term.
I don't think they're paper Tigers. I think they're a very good side, the Warriors, but +5 differential. Raiders, I think, are a far superior side as far as blue sky goes, and there's no James Fisher-Harris here. Look, they won so easy, so comfortably there in Vegas. I can't wrap my head around the fact that the Raiders are the outsiders in this match, boys. I just can't, Rat.
Yeah, no, I can. I can see it. Going over to New Zealand, hostile environment.
Yep.
The Warriors are going in with no Mitch Barnett, no Fisher-Harris, but I'll tell you, the rise of the Warriors this year comes on the back of the great form from Luke Metcalf. Mm-hmm. I just think he is a wonderful player. Like, he's just steering the ship, he's scoring tries, he's just seems like a great team man, and he's doing wonderful things there over in Auckland. And that's where I think that he's got a good platform being laid by his forwards, and he's getting on the back of that. He's a universal type player. I think you could just pull him out of anywhere, drop him into a side, and he's going to make your side instantly better. That's the sort of player that I think he is. I think the Warriors need to lock him up long term for the success of their franchise moving into the future. I think the Raiders, minus who I think's been the best back rower in the comp, Hudson Young this year. Minus him, I can understand why they are the underdogs going into this game. But I can see the Warriors getting up.
Minus him's important because he would have been marking this guy here, who I think's destructive, Marata Nakore. He has got this punch. It's a bit Britton Nickera-esque where he can go in and out. There's the in-line. Almost scores a try. He can find a spot player in the halves, and he scores here. Look, he doesn't do a heap of work, Nakore, over the course of a match. So if you look at the fantasy points and those types of things, he's not going to win it. But when they're near the try line, he's putting his hand up to bash through. So no Hudson Young there. And again, I love targeting edges, Dan, where there's a change up in the dynamics and there's no Hudson Young. That's an out. Capewell back in the centres. Yep. That's also a target for Canberra, which I think's got Sebastian Chris written all over it.
Okay, and your flair is related to the vision you just showed?
Yeah, it certainly is, but I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. So this is like 20-18. Sean the Trader, myself, we like going after first try scorers, or what we call the almond latte. First, second or third try scorer, Marata Nakore. I think that's the way to play it.
I didn't love what I saw from Canberra last week. Didn't love it. A lot of their tries were off kicks, bombs, and they conceded some soft ones as well. So Warriors for me. But let's all find out together and watch the game on Sunday afternoon, and then we'll review it after that. But right now we're going to take an ad break. Our best bets right after this. Get them onside. Hey, great to have your company here. If you're watching on Fox League, a reminder, all this stuff is on YouTube. You get extended versions as well. And you did an interview this week with a New South Wales champion player.
Yes, very quiet Craig Wing. You don't see a lot of Craig Wing, so we thought, you know what, let's get him on. And he was very, very good, boys.
Beautiful. All right, so there it is. Out now. The Legends series. I like that idea. You know what I like even more? This. Joel Kane kicks us off.
Yes, I'm going with Turbo, boys. Left out of the Blues. And I can just see him just having a big day out. Field position, they should win plenty of that. That's how I'm seeing it. But I was the one who let the team down last week, so right. I must come up with something.
I like what I'm looking at here. Not my best bet. I do like my best bet, which is the Newcastle Knights at 9.5. Newcastle Knights, there's my camera, 9.5. Oh, in fact, it's gone into 8.5. I think they can keep it very, very tight with a severely understrength Penrith side. But if you think last week was nervy Matt Rogers, welcome to the world of being the anchor. Now, I've suffered this indignity many, many times of failing the team at the last hurdle. What are we cheering for if it comes down to you?
Well, we're going to the Sharks v the Roosters, and I'm going with Adam Fanua-Blake, anytime try scorer. Delicious odds there for Adam Fanua-Blake, given the fact that he's crossed the line, I think, 4 of his last 6 games. The Roosters are without a couple of middles. I think they'll go through the middle, and I think he can find the try line if he's inside that red zone.
Maddie's an anchor.
Now, we don't normally allow that a best bet at $4.30. That's a flair. But you know what? He's guessed rules.
Yep. And you know what? Bravery, we like that. Last week I wanted to go Ben Trebojevic best bet, but I just went a bit scared, went Latrell, and I paid the price.
Did you say that before?
Yeah.
Did you actually say that on air?
Yeah.
Did you say that, or if you said it on air, then it matters? Okay. Speaking of on air, Sean is going to be off again, I gather. Oh, yeah, I know he is, because this man, Matty Johns, State of Origin preview, man of the match preview, first try scorer. No winger scored first try scorer in about 10 years in State of Origin.
Wow.
That's a slight over-exaggeration, but it's all coming up. Get them onside. Thank you for watching.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.